Hello, my name is Paul Craig. I'm a professor of biochemistry at the Rochester Institute of Technology in Rochester, New York, and I'm also the head of the School of Chemistry and Material Science here. Today I'd like to talk to you about the importance of undergraduate research. And I'll start out by addressing the question of why is this important? It's important because this is an essential part of training. The parts of my profession that I really understand are the parts that I really explored myself, the places where I was actually in the lab, wrestling with ideas, trying to find results, trying to interpret those results, which I discovered we need to share this with our students. So this is an important part of training. It's an important part where the students need to address real issues. They need to think about real questions and look for real answers. It's also important that it be unknown and that this opportunity for research includes the opportunity for failure and the opportunity for success. Because if they're going to engage in a career as a research scientist, they're going to encounter failure a lot, and they need to learn how to deal with that and how to troubleshoot problems as they arise. Another reason for undergraduate research is it really is a learning experience. They really do need to take the things they've heard in the classroom, obviously the scientific method, but also specific scientific topics. My focus is mostly on proteins and enzymes. Students in my research group need to take the theory that they've heard in class about proteins and enzymes and apply that in their research, to ask real questions, to look for real answers. An important part of the training also is learning to think differently. When students are in a class, they often think, what do I need to know to get the right answer on the exam? And that's a good way of thinking when you want to do well in a course. But we really want students to be thinking like an expert. Experts ask questions that talk about the limitations of a particular approach, or what are the possible outcomes of a situation, or how do you interpret one result this way or one result a different way. A third reason why I believe that undergraduate research is really important is because the undergraduate students are a tremendous resource of information. Any group, people from any age or any background can come in with ideas that can change our culture, that can change the way we do what we do, can lead to new discoveries. And so these students come in and they have new ideas. They hear something in a class, and some of these students really want to say, well, can I test this? Can I really find this out? Is there something I can discover here? And so they come in with new ideas. They also come in with new perspectives. Earlier I said we need to train them to think like an expert, and that is very true. But one of the great advantages to bringing undergraduates, particularly first-year students, into the research lab is that they don't know the questions that they shouldn't be asking. They haven't been trained out of asking certain questions, as I have been trained out of asking many questions because I've been doing this for 30 years. These students come in with new ideas, with fresh perspectives, and they're asking these non-expert questions, and it's really important to listen to these questions. It's also important for them to hear the challenges and difficulties that we face and have them come up with solutions that we might not have thought of before. So how do we do undergraduate research? I'm going to present a couple of approaches. One of the approaches is what I'll call the Apprentice Model. In the Apprentice Model, the undergraduate student works with a faculty member or a research director, where the research director teaches them one-on-one. Typically it starts out with some kind of a literature exploration where they read papers that the group has published before, they read other background information from the textbook. Depending on where they are in their progress, if they're a first-year student, if the research student is in their first year, then they need to get some pretty basic background. So maybe they need to watch some videos from Khan Academy or something like that, just to get enough background in organic chemistry or cell biology or something like that, so that they can move into the lab and safely work there. It's important to discuss the project with the student one-on-one and to talk about what they need to do. And the student needs to really engage that project. They really need to own that project in order to progress through it. And an important part of that is they need to prepare a proposal. So they need to identify a question they want to answer and then discuss that question, or then write out a proposal of the thing they're trying to find. And they also need to learn how to break that proposal down into achievable units. These are questions that I can ask and get answers in a fixed period of time. they need to have a hypothesis and learn what it means to develop a hypothesis, something that really can be tested. And then they need to go in the lab and do the experiments and gain the experience and get feedback from their research director, from their peers, from others in the lab as they go forward. And finally, they need to write up what they found. They need to write up and present it, both in written and oral form. Just that practice of presenting is really important. And so those are important parts of undergraduate research, and they can lead to authorship in journal articles, presentations at national meetings, presentations on our own campus, all kinds of things like that. So one model for undergraduate research is the Apprentice Model. A second model, and this is one I've been experimenting with quite a bit lately, is what's called a CURE, a course-based undergraduate research experience. And the setting is the teaching lab. So these are students who are going to be in a lab probably 3 or 4 hours a week. On some campuses, there might be a 1-hour lecture that goes with it, or a 1-hour interactive training session or something like that that goes with it. And so in a course-based undergraduate research experience setting, students are coming into a lab course where the answer is not known. So they don't know what they're looking for. They don't know the answer to the question. The instructor also doesn't know the answer to the question. And so part of the excitement for this kind of a setting is that discovery is happening, but it's happening in groups of students who are often on pretty much the same place. They typically would be, let's say, sophomores or juniors in a biochemistry teaching lab. They've all taken some organic chemistry, some general chemistry, maybe quantitative analysis. Maybe they should have had one biochemistry course either before taking this course or at the same time they're taking this course. So they're coming in with a certain amount of background. Some of them have had cell biology. Some of them are chemistry majors who haven't had any biology classes at all. So we get a team together. Some of them have had more math than others. So this team gets together and they have to approach an idea. They're wrestling with some unknown thing that's out there and trying to figure out how to make steps toward discovery. And so that process of discovery is something that I've been working on, figuring out how to do this in the classroom and trying to get the students more engaged.